You are in the free speech zone. No safe spaces allowed. Nightcaps with Nate.
Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, welcome to Nightcaps with Nate. This is Nate, and we have our usual Tuesday guest, Gabriel Vasquez. Kind of a bad night for him to be on because we are going to address this police killing in Minneapolis. He is a cop in a major city, so hopefully he can provide some commentary on this without violating that big thin blue line. But he is a conservative, a libertarian, so he believes in liberty, so I'm sure he's not going to have a problem opining on this. How you doing today, Gabriel?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I see you drinking water. I had some liquor earlier on, so I'm drinking Diet A&W tonight. Hey, that's my nightcap. My nightcap was a little bit earlier than usual today. So, if you're just joining us, like Laura just joined, hey, make sure that you like and follow our page. If you have not yet, start a watch party. Please start a watch party. Let's get this thing blowing up. We are the conservative voice, libertarian voice, and we provide all different types of commentary from the libertarian perspective, whether black, Hispanic, all types of people. Also, usually we'd have Natalie on tonight. However, because Natalie is not available at the moment, she won't be on, so it'll just be me and Gabriel tonight. I hear a dog in the background, so hopefully Fido is going crazy over there, which is cool. Hey, we're going to start off. By the way, if you want to call in a little bit later, 443-247-5309, 443-247-5309. Make sure you join the conversation live, and you can actually make your point here tonight. Is largely going to be about this civilian that was killed in Minneapolis. I'm going to just put it on the screen. We're just going to start off. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry about that. Go to the right. That's what happens when I am co-producing my own show. 4 Minneapolis cops are fired over the death of handcuffed black man George Floyd after video showed white officer kneeling on his neck for 6 minutes during arrest for forgery. Next thing that I'm going to show you here. The mayor did put out a statement, being black in America. This is the one time, by the way, that I am actually going to agree with this liberal mayor. I don't even like this guy. He's usually horrible, but he is 100% correct here in this. He shares my sentiments. I think that sometimes we can come together as one America and condemn crazy things like this. Being black in America should not be a death sentence. All right, a lot of people will say, and I'm going to start with this. A lot of people say, well, he was committing forgery. First of all, a police officer's job is not to execute punishment. That is what the prisoners do and the executioners do. Their job is to get a suspect before a magistrate with the least amount of force possible. Because in America, we are special. This is not India where they carry canes around and they can beat you on the roadside and not even ever take you to court. Our job as police officers, and I say I used to be a police officer, a military policeman way back in the day, and Gabriel's on today, he's a police officer, is to get a presumed innocent suspect before a magistrate, okay? With the least amount of injury as possible. Use what kind of force you may need, but and if they're being combative, yeah, we have a duty to the public to get them off the street as far as getting them before a magistrate. Okay, for 5 minutes, we watched a white officer press his knee into a black man's neck. 5 minutes. When you hear someone calling for help, you're supposed to help. The officer failed in the most basic human sense. What happened on Chicago and 38 last night is awful. It was traumatic. It serves as a reminder of how far we still have to go. For the better part of the night, I've been trying to find the words to describe what happened. Mayor Jacob Frey says, all I keep coming back to is this man should not have died. This was not meant to be a death sentence. This was not even a sentence that was handed out. This guy was on his belly. Granted, during a kerfuffle, as I'll call it, you may need to exercise some things and your knee may slip to this guy's neck. But prior to the show, Gabriel and I were discussing, and I'm going to ask Gabriel to opine in a second here, but nowhere in my military police school, which was 20 weeks long, 20 weeks of military police academy, did I ever learn to put my knee on somebody's neck and to keep it there for 6 minutes. Never. Gabriel? Are you guys
no, right. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, are you?
Oh, so I mean, for all of its faults, I mean, our criminal justice system. I mean, I think it's fantastic, right? I mean, it still has some tweaking we can do, but like you said, as law enforcement officers, it's our job to bring the person before a magistrate so they can answer for their crimes. Um, Going back to the training, I know for us specifically, they didn't really go into hitting the sensitive areas, especially like the windpipe or anything like that, because that can cause serious bodily injury and or death. So, like you stated, it's our job to subdue them with the minimum amount of force possible to get them detained, take them into custody, and then bring him before a magistrate. So it's very unfortunate what happened to this gentleman. I don't think he intentionally did that. But I mean, it goes without saying it's just terrible.
Okay. If you and I were not police officers heck, even now, I mean, it's been 20 years since I went through I did any sort of police work, including school. As a civilian, if I was exercising a citizen's arrest because this guy had just like literally attacked somebody right in front of me, which I don't advocate for, let law enforcement do their job. This is a trained police officer. Okay? This guy should know better than to sit on somebody's neck for 5 or 6 minutes. We know that if you drown, you have about 4 minutes to get blood and oxygen to the brain. So this guy's crying out saying, I can't breathe, and he goes listless for 6 minutes. What is the harm of picking this guy up? He's handcuffed, he's restrained, and setting him on his butt, leaning up against a tire, or put him inside the car and where there's a cage. I mean, your car is already equipped with cages, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you were telling me that even if you have to do that restraint where it looks like you're hog tying them, you still try to put them on their side. You never leave a suspect on their abdomen. And I know what the police officers would be saying if they're hearing our story. Well, hindsight's 2020. No, dude,
Right.
You are in the policing profession. How long was your academy that you went through?
A little over 6 months.
And how long is your field training after that?
About another 6 months.
Okay, so you got a year of training.
Right.
Year of training working with an expert. And I think that anybody should understand, hey, yeah, probably shouldn't sit on a guy's neck for 6 minutes. Because I don't know if he was really choking out or if you're pressing on that artery, that's how you put people to sleep.
Right.
You're not really choking them out. I mean, you are kind of, but you're also depriving oxygen to the brain.
Right. You're deploying blood and oxygen to the brain. It's a blood choke.
You just caused a stroke is what this guy did to this guy.
Right. Right.
And I don't care if he was being taken down for murder of a child in a church. Okay? The guy is still innocent till proven guilty.
Correct.
And so he has the right to live to at least see a trial until a judge and a jury sentences this guy, or however your state does it. But a judge, at a minimum, a fair and impartial judge, is what we do in America. And this black man, and not just this black man, but too many black people across America are dying needlessly at the hands of law enforcement or rednecks trying to play law enforcement. And yes, a lot of these law enforcement officers are minorities themselves. In fact, the second cop on the scene here is an Asian guy. They have a very big Hmong population in Minneapolis, so I'm assuming he's Hmong, but he's Asian. So I don't think that they were trying to be racist. What they're being is stupid. And unfortunately, a lot of cops are scared of black men, and they shouldn't be. They're citizens of the United States just like you are. They're innocent until proven guilty. If they're combative, you have a whole tool belt around you to use. You can tase them, you can pepper spray them, you can use your asp, you can do a lot of things before shooting them. And you can subdue them with other cops. You were telling me, and we didn't even get this in military police school, because when I went through military police school, we didn't even have combatives. We learned like the crappiest combatives you could ever see, right? But you said that you guys are learning like some kind of combatives or Brazilian jiu-jitsu even, just to kind of subdue people, right?
Right. They do a lot of ground training because a lot of fights do end up on the ground. So it's a lot of pressure points, subduing people like that. Some minor strikes here and there, but the strikes are to like major muscle groups, not to like the one fight or something like
right.
that.
It is to subdue the individual. Now, I understand. I've seen videos where some of these people are on like bath salts and stuff, and they can get where they just don't care.
Right. They don't feel anything, so it's not going to work.
So nothing's going to work, and you have to tase them or immobilize them somehow. And if that includes deadly force, it includes deadly force. All I'm saying is in America, police, I used to watch cops back in the day, like, oh my God, how do they get away with this? Some of the stuff they do. When they go right for pulling somebody out of a car and throwing them on the ground on cement head first, I'm always like, dude, you didn't even ask the guy to come out of the car yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The police have to get off this us versus them mentality, because it's not really us versus them. It's not them until they're proven guilty. They're not the other side of the law until they're proven guilty. That's the best thing about our jurisprudence, man. That's what makes us so special as a country. Quit being scared of your population. If you are, find another profession. If you are, ask to be teamed up with somebody bigger next to you or something. You know, the way that we used to watch police shows and they'd go around and they would, you know, they're tough on crime. Their job's not to be tough on crime per se. Their job is to do their job. Find criminal acts in progress, stop them while they're happening, try to prevent them, crime prevention. But ultimately, your job is to restrain them with just enough force to get them before a magistrate. And if you're frustrated because the judges in these liberal cities keep letting them out, then you might want to find another department to work for then, because it's the system that we live in. And I'm just saying, America, we got to have massive police reform in this country. And it's not me being some social justice warrior. I'm not. But I do believe in black men rights, black female rights, Hispanic rights, white rights. I don't care if we find a new race of people called purple people. They have rights too. And they have the right to not die for silly crimes. They have the right to not always be stopped and frisked. They have the right to be in their car and not always be pulled over at 4 times the rate of white men. And they also have the right to common courtesy. Now, do the citizens, have we lost our side too, where we're a little dicks to cops sometimes? Yeah. Especially even some of the 2A guys that carry the open carry. You know, they're out there trying to goad cops into violating their constitutional rights. It goes both ways, you know. And so just cuff them, throw them in the cruiser. Cops are paranoid. Nobody has their back. They are paranoid, but you know what? Part of it is on themselves. The first cop beating that ever made major news I can remember was Rodney King.
Rodney King.
That changed everything because we only have more video cameras now. Those cops knew that they're being recorded. I don't know what he's thinking. Now, there is one little defense. I did watch the video over and over again. I'm not showing it here. Is that I did see where he would let off his leg a little bit and let the guy move his neck. But they need to put it right back on his neck. For what? The guy was subdued. He was no longer fighting. I also see where a lot of times they'll put their knee on the person's back. That's fine if you're a female on a 250-pound male. But if you're another 250-pound male on a 250-pound male, you're still preventing that guy from breathing, aspirating. Especially if there was a chase. And I know like a lot of cops are like, oh man, I had to chase that bastard. I'm holding him down. Well, guess what? If you're already out of breath, so is he. You got to let his body reoxygenate. Put him in the cruiser. Your cruisers are built with cages for a reason. You know what I mean? They're mini jail cells. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have padding on the seats anymore.
So going back to the camera thing you mentioned, so believe it or not, everyone wanted body cameras a few years ago, right after the incident happened in Ferguson. So after we got the body cameras, a lot of departments have them now. Believe it or not, a lot of the complaints actually dropped down because they're unsustained, because it disproves a lot of what's going on.
Right? Yeah. There was a lot of false accusation against police. The camera serves to protect the cop and the person. Keeps everybody honest.
And so, you know, everyone's like wanting cameras because they're thinking there's a lot of police corruption, and I'm not denying that there is. I mean, there's bad apples mixed within the good apples. I'm not denying that at all. Mm-hmm. But what I don't think, a lot of people think it's institutional racism, but I don't think that is. So I don't think it's racist as an institution. I believe there's racists within the institution, just like with anything. So I think there are bad cops in departments. Yes.
I'll tell you. If as a cop you see, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, man. If you see a group of black men walking down the street and their pants are half pulled down and stuff, cops are looking at them a lot closer than a group of white kids walking down the street, you know, with their backpacks on, looking like they just left school. I know it sounds bad, but it's conditioning. It's conditioning
let's flip it the other way, though. Mm-hmm. You know, we're patrolling an area that's primarily of one demographic. Uh-huh. Pick your demographic. It could be 90% of one demographic. Doesn't matter what it is. And we see someone of another race in that area. And that area is notoriously known for drugs, gang violence. What do we think as police officers? This guy's going to go
why
buy
is
drugs
this group of people in this area? Is there about to be a gang shooting or
or drug? They're
drug dealing?
making a drug purchase, and
Yeah.
and that's how we look at it sometimes.
Here's how I look at it. This is why I could probably never be a cop nowadays. I look at it as they have just as much right to walk down that street as anybody else. And yes, you
Absolutely.
can surveil them. You can tail them. You can do whatever you want. But all this stop and frisk and stuff, the Constitution was never set up that way. And if we want to change it, that's fine. We have this thing called the Constitutional Amendment. It's hard on purpose. Change it.
Yeah, I know.
Put in there that, hey, cops can now demand ID at any time. Put in there whatever you want to put in there, but it's got to be a part of the Constitution. In the meantime, we have this thing called the Fourth Amendment. Seeing a video.
Yeah, I'm not trying to violate anyone's rights, man. That's what I'm. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
I
an
get
oath
it,
keeper.
man.
I know you're.
No, man. You want to walk down the street? Go ahead and walk down the street.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to stop you just to stop you.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
Alan, seen video a week ago. Cop telling his partner he wanted to tase a motorcycle while just riding down highway. Says he hates bikers. Yeah, so you don't need to be a cop.
Yeah.
Not condoning, but do you think adrenaline has something to do with this? Of course, it has something to do with this. But you know what?
Yeah,
that's the
it
difference
could be.
between between somebody like Gabriel who works in a big city as a cop and me who worked on a lowly, sleepy base, as a military policeman. My adrenaline is going to pump a lot harder during a chase than him because he goes through it more often. And that's where you have to get that in check, man. That's like saying, well, I didn't mean to punch that cop. It was just the heat of the moment. You still punched the cop. It's called self-discipline.
Yeah, I think too. How many other people were on that scene? How many other police officers were on that scene? Yes, he may have had an adrenaline dump, and he may have forgot where his knee was, but there was other police officers on that scene. I don't know why they didn't notice.
And he didn't. And that's that thin blue line that we have to get rid of. It's not a bad thing to be a battle buddy. You're not a snitch by saying, hey, man, get your knee off his neck. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, we're both going to get in trouble. Because guess what? That Asian cop right there, I think he's one of the 4 that got fired because of this nonsense.
Yeah.
And firing is nothing compared to what this guy has gone through. He's now gone. His life is over an alleged forgery, not even a violent crime. Does it piss me off when people commit forgery? You bet. Does it piss me off when people commit identity theft? You bet. Does it mean that they deserve the death penalty before they even saw a judge? No. And here's the deal. Use all the force you need to use to subdue this guy and get him in the back of your patrol car. All for you. I will protect you 100%. I think a lot of cops get bad reps, and I'm like, I would have done the same thing. But in this case, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, even the dude that was selling cigarettes on the streets of New York case, where they choked him out, uncalled for. Tase the dude, which immobilizes his body. I mean, it's like an electric shock going through you, and most of the time it's going to work. I know a lot of times it won't work, but let's start with that before we start chokeholding people. Okay? Kathleen says it's called self-discipline. Alan, pull him off the guy. Yeah, I mean, be a battle buddy. Say, dude, get your knee off his neck, man. He can't breathe. Here, I'll take over from here. Back off. And I know people be like, oh, man, I thought we're on one team. Sometimes, man, life is more valuable than that. Whitley, again, cops protect and serve. Come join us, people in the country. Big cities suck. I agree. I totally agree. As I get older, man.
It's fun. It's fun. But, I mean, I do like the
When I was
country
younger,
life.
When I was younger, you couldn't get me. I was a city guy. I would have had a penthouse in New York, high life. As I hit my 30s and then 40s, man, get me a boat and a fishing line. I'm down with that. And a golf club and a golf course. I'm down. All right.
You brought up an interesting point as how policing is different in the big city as opposed to being out in the rural area. Completely different. So I know people are trying to talk about standardizing policing or police training. It's going to be kind of difficult, especially when you have inner city policing as opposed to policing out in the rural areas. I'm not talking about like how you talk to somebody, but I mean the crimes are a little bit different. The
crimes are different. They're more, you're drunk and disorderly,
right?
DUIs. And I understand, and I feel for you guys, man. People in New York City, they don't even make enough money to live in their own city as rookie cops, and they're in a no-win battle against a liberal mayor. I am not a liberal. What I am is a constitutionalist. I am down with tough on crime. Be tough on it, especially violent crime. Nip it in the bud. I am not one of those social justice warriors. What I am saying, though, is that as a libertarian, if a black man has to be subdued, you subdue him, pick him up, put him in the car, leave him be until he gets to the judge.
Any
Well,
person in general. It doesn't matter what color they are. Just a person in general.
yeah, I shouldn't even say that. You're right. It
That's what
just
I'm saying. It
happens
doesn't matter
more.
what colors.
It just seems
Right.
to happen to a lot of, black people make up 13% of the United States, and if they make up 26% of the violent arrests, I'll attribute to some of that is, hey, maybe it's just inner city life. The rest of that is just cops being too tough on people, and I know what it's like. I can figure it out. If you're in New York City and you're in a no bail situation, you've arrested this guy 5 times in a week, you kind of want to take you kind of want to teach him a little lesson, but that's not your job. Find another police department to work in or another profession. Go be a mall cop. Okay, but if you're a real cop,
if you're dealing with the same demographic over and over, of course there's going to be more incidents with that demographic.
I
you know
agree
what I
with
mean? But I mean that's not taken away from that at all. I totally agree with you.
Totally
I don't think we shouldn't violate these guys' rights. Anybody's rights.
Even if
Doesn't
you're
matter what color they are.
Even if you're frustrated that it's a revolving door and you see him, it just put you in jail yesterday and you're already back out here causing crime.
That's not on us, man. That's not our job.
It's not your job. Your job is to go with the flow, go with the system, put them right back in jail, and hopefully something will stick eventually. If you don't like it, go be a sheriff's deputy in northern Michigan. They would love to have you. You know what I'm saying? They would love to have you. But if you like the thrill, the chase, and all that, that's good. But chase bad guys and then use only enough force in order to get them in there. All right, let's move on. I don't want to beat that to death, but you know what? If you have something to say about this or any subject tonight, 443-247-5309, 443-247-5309. Make sure that you listen to the instructions. When you call in, there will be a recorded message from the producer, Whitley, who will tell you some pointers on how to do this. Just please make sure that you stay on mute. I will see that you're calling, and I will bring you online by asking for your city and state. If you have any comments about this or any other story, make sure that you come to the Nightcaps with Nate page and comment. I know that you may be watching on a watch party. If that's the case, come on over, do a Facebook search of Nightcaps with Nate. Like and follow the page and join the discussion that's being had there. Hey, now we're going to go into Democrat liberal hypocrisy of the highest order. Embattled Michigan governor. Yes, this is the one I've been talking to you over and over again. The one that has the most strictest lockdown in the country. The one that says, hey, if you don't have any reason to travel north, even though she unlocked the northern Michigan where all the vacation homes are, then please don't do it. Well, come to find out, she traveled north. Well, she's lying about it right now, saying she didn't. Her husband went north to rake leaves, apparently, in May. Somehow she... Okay. The governor of Michigan, whose strict coronavirus lockdown policies have caused infamous revolts in the states, has taken heat after her husband appeared to have flouted some of her own advice about holiday travel. She said, but if you don't live in these regions, think long and hard before you take a trip into them. A small spike could put the hospital system in dire straits because it's very rural up there. That's precisely why we're asking everyone just to continue to do your part. Don't descend on the waterfront of Traverse City from all regions of the state. So where does her husband go? He goes to the marina or calls the marina in Traverse City and asks for his boat to be undocked in record amount of times. The guy who owned the boat docking service said, this morning I was out working when the office called me. There was a gentleman on hold who wanted his boat in the water before the weekend. North Shore Dock LLC owner Tad Dowker wrote Thursday on Facebook, according to the news, which said the posting has since been made private. Being Memorial Weekend and the fact that we started working 3 weeks late due to the lockdown means there is no chance this is going to happen, Dowker wrote. So the guy says, well, our office personnel explained this to the man, and he replied, I'm the husband of the governor. Will this make a difference? So apparently, Whitmer today in a news conference addressed that this crisis is not about me and it's never been. We need to have some perspective and remember that this is about the people of Michigan. My husband made a failed attempt at humor last week. Humor. He regrets it. He wishes it wouldn't have happened, and so do I. Whitmer said her husband went to their vacation home to rake their leaves for a night or two. Okay.
He just regrets getting caught or getting called out on it. That's what he really regrets. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, hey, sheeple, when you stay locked down, will me and my husband go rake leaves on our boat? Okay, somebody actually tweeted, hey, I often use my boat to rake leaves. And then another guy says, I do too. Am I doing it wrong? Okay. That Michigan Governor Whitmer dismissed her husband's allegedly special treatment at Marina as just a failed attempt at humor. If you were there to rake your leaves, why would you even call in there? It's a freaking lie. You know what's worse? You know what's worse than a politician get caught? It's when they try to cover it up. It's just like Joe Biden last week. Oh, I was just being cavalier. I didn't really mean that. Bullshit, you meant it. Give a minute. Okay? You really think that if you're a black man thinking about voting for Trump, that they ain't black. And she really thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to unlock northern Michigan just in time for Memorial Day because we have a planned vacation. And there were rumors that her daughter was having a graduation party up there in Traverse City. Okay? And that's why they were going up there. And if you think that they just went up there to rake leaves with his boat out of the marina, that's a freaking lie. Okay? Of course she did. Oh, we're going to get into Ralph in a minute, Kathleen. Because Ralph got caught with a little hypocrisy himself. Ralph Northam, governor of, he's the... he named himself Coon Man in college because he would go in blackface, but then he first admitted that it may be him and then denied that it was him because he's a liar. He says, Virginia to mandate mask after on this photo here, after Northam was caught taking selfie without one. Why? If you're going to have the strictest, all these Democrats are going to have the strictest lockdowns, and they're doing it just to try to keep the economy down for the election. There's no reason. We're going to address that later. Why do you go and blast through your own restrictions? You could have done a selfie and made a big example by saying, nope, I'm going to do this selfie with my mask on. Because if you're doing a selfie, guess what? You're not 6 feet apart.
Right.
You know, hey, by the way, are you wearing a mask when you have to go to work?
Yeah, we have to. It's our policy that we have to wear it.
How about gloves?
I mean, when applicable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to wear the mask. We're interacting with the public. Even inside like the station, we have to wear masks.
How about in the car, your patrol car?
I mean, they want you to, but I mean, I'm with my partner all the time. Yeah. I mean,
but if you're gonna live in a Kathleen always has some. She's the one that's on here always commenting, but she always has these country sayings. You know, you're gonna play stupid games, get stupid prizes or whatever. I mean, if you're gonna work for live in stupid states and vote for stupid people, then live by the stupid rules that they put on you. It's like all weekend, man. All weekend, we had people from Virginia and Maryland, liberals, come into West Virginia because we're open and they're not. And so where we live in the D.C. metro area, West Virginia kind of juts right down in there. And so we're the only slice of freedom right now. And so they're all up in there, you know. I'm like, hey, welcome to freedom. You know, I'm making little jokes. Welcome to the free state where Republicans still rule and we're not too scared, right? And one lady says, oh, well, and I said, you know, you guys voted for Northam. That's your fault. And she's like, proudly. And boy, that just got me. I was like, really? Proudly, huh? Would you do it again? She's like, hell yeah, I'd do it again. I said, then why the hell are you out of your state? Go get locked down somewhere. Don't come to our state, you know? It's just like people that move. They move for cheaper. They'll move to Texas because, oh, man, the price of living is good and the taxes are low and, you know, there's jobs everywhere and stuff. But then when it comes to voting, they'll go and vote New York or wherever they came from.
Right. They're not coming from California and voting California.
Right. And now there's like even t-shirts being made, don't California my Texas, you know?
Right.
I never understood it, man. Liberals are like parasites.
I was just about to make the distinction until like a parasite. They just go from one, right.
They do. They're like the coronavirus. As soon as they can no longer live in my cells, they want to go off to you know, Gabriel's cells and live off him for a while until they kill that host. You know?
Yeah, the bad thing about that mandate is that it's punishing. So they want the businesses to enforce this mask mandate, but it punishes the business if they don't enforce it.
And you know what else it punishes? The socialist dream you have. Because if you don't have businesses, you don't have taxes.
Right.
It's all a big dead end. It is a huge dead end. If Trump, and we're going to get on this in a second, you know, let's just get on it, man. If Trump wasn't such an idiot, you know, let's go over one more case of racism. This Karen. First of all, I think to call white women Karen is racist in itself. It'd be like me, and I just did it, right? Because that's the same thing. But it'd be like me going, oh yeah, Shaniqua, you know, as like, you know, I'm talking about any black lady or something. It's just racist, right?
Calling me Juan.
Yeah, calling you Jose, you know, Juan or something. Hey, go get me a taco, right? It's just racist. So, but for some reason, because if you're a white person, then everybody can kind of come after you with these little racist tropes. But anyways, you know the ladies that have the hair cut up like this, or they're always calling the cops on somebody or requesting the manager, they call them Karen, right? They're supposed to be a white woman. But this woman in Central Park is being dubbed Central Park Karen, has been fired from her job at an investment company Apparently they fired her because she decided that she was going to walk her dog in Central Park without a leash. A black man who was bird watching, okay, said, hey, you're supposed to have a leash on. And she starts taking out her thing, so he starts recording. He's like, it's not going to be my word versus hers, with the cops.
Right.
Don't blame him, right?
Yep.
Even if it's unfounded, if he just felt it, hey, videos keep everybody honest. So apparently, she says, hey, quit recording me or I'm going to call the cops and say an African-American is threatening me. You know what's crazy about this is she's a liberal.
Shame on her, man.
So that even makes it even worse. This is something that we get accused for, like when Jussie Smollett in Chicago thought that somebody was going to buy the story that 5 white guys in Trump hats in downtown Chicago is going to attack a black guy, and throw bleach on him and all that stuff. This chick here is a hypocrite of the highest order. So she says, hey, and she calls the cops, and he's recording it. He's like, a black man's coming to get me, and she couldn't get her dog under thing. Apparently, the Humane Society's asking to retrieve her dog because she was handling it wrong. Second, she lost her job. Third, she had to come out on CNN and apologize because she sat there and used this guy's race and the stereotype that cops are going to take her side over this black guy's side anyways.
That's terrible, man. Just shame on her, man. That's completely uncalled for. I mean,
not just that. Just like cops, man. Do you not realize everything's on video nowadays? If you're going to be a closet racist, you better be a little more discreet than that. You know what I'm saying? Everything is on camera nowadays. And if it's not one of you two recording it, somebody else is recording it for World Star of Hip Hop or whatever that channel is. Or for YouTube. All right?
I think she made the comment, too, that this ruined my life. Like, no, you ruined your life.
Yeah.
You took it there. Why did you go there?
Exactly.
Completely uncalled for.
And you live in one of the wokest cities in America. New York, Washington, D.C., L.A., San Francisco. You know that behavior is not going to be tolerated by a private employer. In America, we're all at will. Okay, unless you're in the military or you're in some sort of a contract position. And even contract jobs have a clause in there. If you bring shame on the company, they can let you go. So they're going to let you go. And, these are those people. It's like that one idiot a long time ago during the gay debate with Chick-fil-A. And he went through and he's recording himself blasting this poor 16-year-old Chick-fil-A worker. He was a CFO in a company making like $250,000 a year, and the next day he's on food stamps because it went viral. The poor girl at Chick-fil-A who's saying "my pleasure," she has nothing to do with the policies of Chick-fil-A headquarters. She's just there to be polite and to offer you ketchup and a spicy chicken sandwich and say "my pleasure" after a thank you. Whitley says she should have got arrested. They said a crime wasn't committed because
so hate crime is protected speech. So
it can be as long as it causes violence or something like that. But yeah, the speech. Now, I think she should have gotten a misuse of the 911 system.
That's kind of hard to prove. But I think, I don't know exactly what was said on the 911 call, but at least for us here in our state, it's kind of hard to prove with those misuse of 911 calls.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, if you guys want to join the show live, 443-247-5309, 443-247-5309, or you can comment like everybody is. Kathleen says someone should have knocked her ass out the way she picked up that poor dog by its collar, too. Come on, she had to stay on the phone. Alan says, he choked the dog. Connie, the faces, also said, bye, Felicia. Okay. Nowadays, and you got to be cognizant of this is part of capitalism, right? You have to realize that if you do something that's stupid and it's caught on camera, you lose your livelihood. All the college, I'm sure her being that high up in
she was at a firm, right?
It was like a major one, Franklin Templeton. Okay. She being that high up, she probably worked a long time to get there. But that just goes to show you one little act of racism can take it all the way down. And it should. Now, should she be given a second chance? Sure. Go change your identity. Start over at the bottom, but Alan says hang her by a collar. Well, come on, she's human. That was a dog. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to do something stupid, as Kathleen say, play stupid games, earn stupid prizes, that's a stupid prize. You got it, right? Now we're going to get into my boy Trump. Okay? I love you, Trump. Wear your hat, buddy. Please, for the love of God, somebody chop off his thumbs. He does not need thumbs to be president of the United States. Okay? He just needs his phalanges here, okay? Take his phone away or do something. Put a passcode on it. Put a timer on it between the hours of 2 and 6. He can't say anything stupid. Because right now, there is a huge story in Politico. And Politico, by the way, is largely tied in with Washington Post and CNN. So it's no friend of Trump. But the headline, the general election scenario that Democrats are dreading. We're about to see the best economic data we've seen in the history of the country. Why? Because we're in an artificial depression. And when we get this vaccine, even before we get the vaccine, as these cases they're dwindling down to almost nothing. The economy is going to shoot up, and Trump will rightfully and honestly be able to say, "I just presided over the best quarter of growth in American history," and he'll have numbers to back it up. Just like Obama got all that credit because there was no place to go but up. I mean, the 2008 recession knocked us all the way to the bottom. So if you get 10% growth in one quarter, 10% of 10 times zero is still zero. But he could say, hey, look at the growth, Furman's counterintuitive pitch, he's the former Obama administration that did finances for him, has caused some Democrats, especially Obama alumni around Washington, to panic. Quote, "This is my big worry," unquote, said a former Obama White House official who's still close to the former president. Asked about the level of concern among top party officials, he said it's high. High, 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 high. Okay? Why? Because we have thrown ourselves in an artificial depression. So guess what we can do? Artificially or naturally bounce right back. So even if the unemployment rate is still 8%, if he can bring down in one quarter the unemployment from its current 15 or 16% down to 8%, he can say, man, I am the best. Let's keep it going. So who can ruin that message?
Well, it's a win-win situation for him either way, because let's say it doesn't recover. He can't, the Democrats can't use it they can't use it to blame him because it's not his fault. It's caused by a pandemic. However, if they have the third quarter rise they're supposed to predict to have, I mean, it's going to be good for him.
Okay, but the only person that can ruin it is this asshole
it's Trump.
Named Trump.
It's Trump.
I love Trump. Next slide, I've been saying it. Trump, get an A- on policy and F on Twitter rants. Yes, you even went down further. I was watching Ben Shapiro today, and he had the perfect point. The people like my father-in-law who loves Trump's tweets, they're already voting for you, buddy. They're going to come out and vote for you. What do you have to win over by going after Joe Scarborough and some conspiracy theory that he murdered his intern 10 years ago? There's nothing to be gained. In fact, if you want to investigate that, have your Justice Department do it after you win the next election, because right now you just sound like a kook. And the media is going to make you out to be a kook. Okay? So I say, hey, why? With all those great headlines, the general election scenario that Democrats are dreading, could an economic rebound sweep Trump to victory? Dems reportedly warning pre-election economic surge could boost Trump. Right? But yet, now the big headline is Twitter refuses to delete Donald Trump's tweets accusing Joe Scarborough of murder despite grieving widower of dead staffer pleading with Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, to remove them, but platform does apologize for pain they are causing, but says it's the president, we're not going to remove it. That is what's sucking up your headlines right now. Not, hey, we're gonna win. Hey, we're gonna beat this virus. Hey, we're gonna have the sharpest economic incline ever. Nope. Why? This administration has been gifted with a weak candidate full of his own gaffes in Joe Biden. The difference is this. Joe Biden has a media to cover for him. You have just the opposite. Not only do you have a media that won't cover for you, they will report on every single stupid thing you do. And I'm not talking like what they did with Joe Biden and report for 24 hours and say, well, that's just Uncle Joe being an idiot. I don't think he really meant it, He doesn't really think you're not black if you don't vote for him. It was said in jest, he was just being cavalier, as he called it. No, they're going to come after you with everything they got, Trump. Those that love your tweets are voting for you anyways, Trump. What do you have to gain by tweeting all this stupid nonsense, going after people personally? Be the president of the United States. Quit being an imbecile with your tweets. Rise above. Go after people's policies. Go after things like, hey, we're not going to bail out your blue state because you've overspent. Those are good tweets. Saying that woman from Michigan's a skanky whore or whatever you're going to say, those are bad tweets. Okay? It really just rises to the level of listen to your advisors, because somebody's got to be telling you.
I mean, I say the same thing all the time to my friends. And there's two Trumps. You have Twitter Trump, and then you have real Trump. And every time Trump tweets, it's usually hyperbole. So I mean, if you don't know that's what he does, and you're going to take it as, hey, this is how this guy talks all the time.
And a lot of even the older people are getting rid of it. And you know what he's got?
Then you give him a fake Twitter account, man. So like he tweets something, so it doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it just goes into the ether.
Yes, Mr. Trump, it's went out blasted to the world. Well, I don't
Everyone knows, yeah, it's out there.
Yep.
It was the best tweet ever.
You know who he's got? He's got a great spokesperson, a media handler. He's president of the United States. Listen to this lady handle this a political journalist, by the way, named Ryan Lizzie. He's a piece of crap biased reporter. But listen to her, how she handles him. And he could sit there and just watch her day after day and realize this is how you do it. Let a woman handle it, maybe. Okay? In fact, you know what? Before I blast off emails back in the day when I was in the Army, my wife, I would go, no, Nate, let's look at it, and she's like, soften this here. And you know what? Because I was the type that, sometimes I got pissed and I wanted to blast it out to the world. Not a good idea always. Watch this lady handle this thing.
Dead American milestone. What does the White House view as having, by Election Day, what does the White House view as the number of dead Americans where you can say that we successfully defeated this pandemic?
All right, first of all, that's a gotcha question he's trying on her. What would the White House say is a good number of dead Americans where he can still claim success? In other words, is it 90,000? Is it 100,000? Is it 150,000? Is it the original 2.2 million? What would be a good number? Of course, there's no way to properly answer that, because if she would have said, oh, well, the White House thinks if we can keep dead Americans below 150,000, then we succeeded. Then the media would have blown it up for the next few weeks. Oh, 150,000 deaths is okay with Trump, right? So there was no way of winning. It was a gotcha question that they never do to Democrats. Notice they only do it to Republicans. All right, let's keep going.
Is there a number?
Yeah, every loss of life counts. We say 100,000, but like the president says, one death is something to be mourned. These 100,000 individuals have a face. The president takes this very seriously. It's why he lowered the flag to half-staff for 3 days to remember these men and women. I think, Dr. Birx said it best when she said that in their estimates, they had anywhere between 1.5 and 2.2 million people in the U.S. succumbing to the virus if we didn't shut down the economy. The president made the very hard choice of shutting down the economy, so we avoided that extraordinary number. Every one death is too many. We'd never want to see a single individual lose their life. But that being said, to be under significantly that high mark shows that the president did everything in his power and helped to make this number as low as humanly.
So, great answer. Great answer so far, right? Hey, one death is too many with this president, but they're originally saying 2.2 million deaths. We consider that a success in itself, but the president has lowered the flags for 3 days, half-staff, because we're going to hit that 100,000 mark. Of course, we don't want anybody to die. Boom. Great answer. Trump could learn a lot. So the guy comes back at her again. Ready?
Possible.
When voters go to the polls in November and they want to judge the president on his response to this pandemic, what is the number of dead Americans that they should tolerate and where they can argue that, yes, he successfully defeated the pandemic?
I think, you're asking the wrong question. The right question is where did the data...
I want to ask, Haley, so please don't tell me you're asking a wrong
I answered your...
So he tries to mansplain her, which, oh, by the way, he's a liberal. All right? Remember, that's supposed to be nonsense, man. He's like, that's my question, Kelly, so just answer my question. Don't tell me it's a bad question. And here she goes. Ready? She's a badass. Go.
Question once, but if you ask it twice, it doesn't make it any better of a question. So I'll respond in kind. I've given you one answer. I'll continue to extrapolate upon that he always listened to the science. The president, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx said you need to shut down the economy, that was hard for the president. In a typical year, 120,000 people die of suicide and drug overdose. It's in a typical year. And doctors have said when you shut down an economy for an extended period of time, that number gets greater. People don't show up for their cancer diagnoses. There are a litany of results when you close down an economy, but closing down the economy for this amount of time kept us far below the 2.2 million number. And as we start to reopen, we keep in mind the people who are missing their screening appointments, the people who are succumbing to suicide and drug overdose because of economic hardship. This president made the right choice. It was a delicate balance, and he did it exactly as he should, guided by data. And we are far below 2.2 million dead Americans because of the actions of President Trump.
Boom.
Ouch.
That's how you handle it. You ask the same question, the same stupid question, I'm just going to give you the same answer. And that is how you handle it. Okay? Like Whitley said, she said, shut the F up in a much nicer way. Mic drop, as Kathleen said. Alan says, I want her to be our governor. President Trump, I'm begging you to have her on the trail with you. I'm begging you not to say anything from here on out. if you were judged only on policy, that guy would win in a Reagan landslide his second edition. But the only enemy he has, besides the press, and Reagan had the enemy of the press too, the only enemy he has other than that is himself. Shut up. Quit getting into these petty games. You're the president of the United States trying to go for a second 4-year term. Act like it. What say you?
She needs to take over his Twitter account. That's what she needs to do.
She's a boss, man.
Man, she's awesome, man.
She's a boss. Gordy says, love that girl. Jackie Garcia, she's a dingbat. Yeah, expound on that. She's a dingbat. I would love to see what you mean by that, because she just took that guy to task. Now, if Jackie, you're saying she's a dingbat because she's blonde, I think that's pretty sexist, and but that's okay. We welcome liberal viewpoints on this show too. Speaking of liberal, this guy here, this old guy here, he was the former CBS president of news, and he says that even back then, when he thought he could temper it, it said news organizations that claim to be neutral have long been creeping leftward, and their loathing of Mr. Trump has accelerated the pace. The news media is catching up with the liberalism of the professorate, which is in college, the entertainment industry, upscale magazines, and the literary world. Recent arrivals of the late-night TV hosts. He was talking about a lady named Jean Fitzpatrick, a former Democrat who ended up working for Ronald Reagan, and she had said back in 1980, man, the media is leaning liberal, and he's like, hey, don't worry about it. It will self-correct. We're the media. We got it. Now he's saying it's too far gone. He admits it, and this guy was a former president of CBS News. Everybody's
you can see it in the Biden coverage.
Everybody's calling in for Jackie Garcia Baginski to call in and elaborate. 443-247-5309, 443-247-5309. We welcome all dissenting voice. All I ask is that when you call in, please follow the instructions of the recording and stay on mute until I call you. And also, no personal attacks, and I won't personally attack you, nor do we scream over each other. Okay, so feel free to call in. You have about 12 minutes to call in and make your point heard. We would love to hear it, and so would all the viewers. So, I mean, the media... Here's the Donald Trump we need right here. Okay, this is an example of a good tweet. Okay, Donald Trump escalates claims California mail-in ballots for all are illegal and now claim ballots will be stolen and forged. I don't know if they're illegal. It's usually up to the states. But he's saying there is no way, zero, that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. Duh. Anybody can say that. I mean, not say that. Anybody can say that and be correct. If you have 5, I was showing on my show last night that there were 5, this one Grand Blanc, Michigan resident got 5 ballots from all different people that used to live there. He could sit there and forge every one of those signatures, and the chance of him getting caught is probably less than 1%. Way less, because they just don't have the manpower to check every single thing. He could have 5 votes for whoever he wants. And that's why I make that joke and I put that meme up. Don't let President Trump steal the election. Demand voter ID. Because this is so important. This is the president of the United States. And here's what's going to happen. We're going to have this nationwide mail-in ballots. And then hindsight will be 2020. Well, it's too late. Biden's already president. You know, we can't go back and undo the election. Or nor would any judge ever allow that, right? So we're just stuck with it. But, hey, we learned our lesson. Next time we'll have to check those signatures better. And it's just going to be an ongoing problem forever and ever. So Trump says...
So they're differentiating between mail-in ballots and absentee ballots, correct?
They didn't, but mail-in absentee was meant for people in the military, people too old. It was supposed to be kind of a rare thing where we kind of take their word for it.
Right. That's what I'm trying to clarify. So are they differentiating between absentee ballots or just everything needs to be mail-in?
Everybody mail-in. Everybody has the right to. Michigan passed some. Michigan really screwed up over the last few years, man. They got Gary Peters as their senator and Debbie Stabenow and this governor. And they also did this ballot initiative that enshrined it in the Constitution that anybody can vote by mail now. And, you know, all these things where, you can have 40 days to vote for election. I mean, come on. What happened to the day? I can understand, like, early voting, like maybe a weekend prior. What happened to the day when you got off your lazy ass, took time off work if you need to, and stood in line, showed an ID or proved that you were who you were and you voted? We don't do that anymore. Just because we got those, does that mean we can go and vote? I haven't really followed this much, Amber says. No, that's an application to vote. Gordy, need to vote with ID. Connie, Ellis, Jackie must have left. Yes. Kathleen, if we can congregate at the damn Walmart. We can wait patiently and 6 feet apart to vote in person. Totally agree with you.
Ain't that the truth?
This is a good tweet. President Trump, I know you're probably not watching. We will be big enough someday where you will be watching. But he says there is no way, zero, that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. Mailboxes will be robbed, ballots will be forged, and even illegally printed out and fraudulently signed. The governor of California, and you can just insert Michigan, is sending ballots to millions of people. Anyone living in the state, no matter who they are or how they got there, will get one. He's insinuating illegal immigrants. That will be followed up with professionals telling all of these people, many of whom have never even thought of voting before, how and for whom to vote. This will be a rigged election, no way. Totally agree. If you're too lazy to get up and vote, then you're too lazy to pick the president of the United States in your Congress. That's just my thing. Unless someday some technology happens where you can have a biometric fingerprint and you sign in with your fingerprint on a ballot that's totally secure, can't be interfered with by Russia or China and hacked by Iran, and you can vote that way, that's the only way I'll go for it. I don't have a problem with I think it's lazy that you can't get up and go vote. It's kind of like, but I understand. We're in a digital world. Find a way to make it 100% secure. And that includes some sort of biometrics and a stiff penalty. And here's what happens. All these people that get caught with voter fraud and all that, they usually get a slap on the wrist. Even though it says, you can go up to like 2 years in prison, whatever the crime may be.
They're not going to max it out, man.
They don't.
They don't have time for that. They're not going to max that out.
They're not even going to.
It's going to be a slap.
A lot of times they don't even get jail time. They get like probation or something.
It's usually deferred.
You know what you should get? Nationwide, you should lose your right to vote for life. That's how I figure about it. Chris Sanders, I would just like to point out that absentee ballots mysteriously got lost and not counted during the second Obama election in the thousands. Anyways, the mail is a complete joke in my opinion. I mean, they can't even count the votes in Wisconsin. They found buckets of ballots in a U.S. Postal Service warehouse, and it was never the Postal Service's job to take secure items like that and transfer them one to another without, everybody signing for something. It's not like you're doing registered mail for your ballot. In fact, you know what? If states you want to do that, then it should be registered mail. And the state should have to pay for it. If they can make counterfeit money, they can do ballots also. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Think about this. If they can make counterfeit money, but they're not going to do it in front of a poll worker. You know what I'm saying? Because usually most polling places have a representative from both sides that are sitting there watching the count and all that stuff. That's what keeps it honest, man. Humans, I'd love to believe that 100% of us are good, honest folks, and we would never do anything for our own self-interest. Guess what? Human nature, you're a cop. You see it every day. People are dishonest assholes sometimes.
Yep.
If they
even
were
when presented with the truth,
if they were, right in front of you. We wouldn't need car alarms. We wouldn't need house alarms.
You wouldn't need locks on your door.
Exactly.
You wouldn't need deadbolts.
Michigan says that it's the mail-in votes because of stay-at-home order. I believe that Democrats are holding the stay-at-home order because of that. In other words, all in Michigan, all you sheeple that I see, well, hey, the government's keeping us safe. No, she's not. She's trying to get it to where you will have to vote by mail. This is all politics. There's two reasons why governors want you staying at home. Keep the economy down so that Trump can't have that win. And so everybody gets a mail-in vote because they know that the people that normally wouldn't vote because they're too lazy will maybe vote. Or fraudulent votes are going to happen, and they, for some reason, always go towards the Democrats. And that should bother you as a Democrat, man. You got to depend on foreign votes, felons, and all the other people to vote for you. Maybe your party's not that great. I mean, maybe you're standing with the wrong people. My mom used to say, birds of the same feather flock together.
Flock together, right?
If you have to flock yourself in with a bunch of welfare queens and felons and whatever, then maybe you're in the wrong party. Maybe you're representing it. Connie, I remember not locking doors at night, but I'm old. I mean, I'm never going to put it out there. I don't lock my doors at night because I'm sure sometimes I forget. I mean, but I'm the wrong house you want to come to. I got plenty of weapons. Final,
is that person calling in or?
No, she obviously didn't have the guts to.
I was just curious.
Oh, no. She would have called in. I would have stopped all conversation. We would have had that conversation right away. Because someone make her open up. I'm over this bitch. Amber. Worrying new graph shows how coronavirus is still surging in many U.S. counties with infections spiking up to 900% in parts of Texas and Florida since April. Good. Good. Now, hopefully it's all young people who are going to get over it and get herd immunity. Now, here's another thing. This will get all you men looking, and it's only for men. Men with longer ring fingers, face a lower risk of dying from COVID-19 and are more likely to suffer mild symptoms, study claims. On the screen there, if you want to screenshot it, I'll give you a second, but that will show you how to measure and what the ratios are that says good. Scientists led by Swansea University, don't know where that's at, study ring fingers in men in 41 nations. Countries where men have short ring fingers, the death rate is up to 30% higher. The UK, Bulgaria, and Spain were among the 10 countries with short ring fingers, but men in Malaysia, Singapore, and Russia tend to have longer ring fingers. Scientists said ring finger is determined by testosterone levels in the womb. Testosterone is thought to be protective against severe COVID-19. Now, I've heard both things. I heard another study where they're trying to lower testosterone in men who have COVID-19. So I don't know where Swansea University is, and I don't know if I trust it, but kind of something cool to look at, you know.
Swansea. I'm like looking at my ring finger, man. I'm like,
I know it.
I'll be all right.
Remember the big debate in the Republican thing, whether Trump had big hands or not? Maybe that's why.
They're huge.
They're huge. Biggest hands you
Huge.
ever seen.
The best hands.
You know, maybe that's why he's not scared of COVID. Or maybe his hands are small, and that's why he was on hydroxychloroquine as a prophylactic. Hey, that wraps up our show tonight. Thank you for everybody who opined and watched tonight. Hopefully you had a good time. Make sure that you like and follow our page here on Facebook. Make sure that you become a fan. Also, go to YouTube and subscribe and like our videos there. And Connie says, why just research on men? I don't know. Call Swansea University. They're sexist, apparently. Also, make sure that you join us tomorrow. Tomorrow is Redneck Wednesday, one of my favorite nights. We are going to have the Rednecks on, and we are going to discuss probably lighter news than the other nights. With that being said, hey, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you have a great night. See you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.
Peace.